early morning. That's when I'm tackling my chores for the spring. So the porch garden is composted. It's also edged a bit. Got some daffodils coming up. Peonies are starting to wake up. Moving on to, this is the corner garden. That's the before. So some of the things that I'm looking to do, one is to identify where the plants are, because by now all the perennials are starting to pop up. If you look in the back by the hose, these stalks from the tree lilies are gonna have to get cut back, and then all the green. This is how crazy weeds are. So it's mid-April and they're flowering. You know what flowering means? Flowering means that's going to drop seed. So all of these things that have sprouted from seed, they're flowering already. If we don't nip that in the butt and pull them out, we're going to have to deal with seed again all season long. So that's some of the things to think about, especially early spring with weeds. Man, these things are up and ready to go. This is another garden. This is a geranium. I love the purple in the leaf when it comes up. And this thing fills in this whole corner. It's like a trailing geranium. And I got this at a specialty nursery in Great Barrington. I know I have a picture in my phone of the tag because I've learned to do that now. But I have no idea where the picture is, so it doesn't help me much. But I do somewhere have the name of that. And then we have a lot of tulips. And again, look at this. A lot of weeds and a lot of flowering. So today this is going to get really cleaned out. I have to edge it. As you can see, look, between the weeds and the grass, you can't even tell where the edge of the garden is. But lots of stuff happening. And then this garden will get done. Lots of stuff coming up in here. Obviously the hydrangea has to get cleaned out at the base. You can see there's some growth coming. That's where most of the mophead hydrangeas that bloom on old wood, that's where, in our zone, that's where you're gonna see a lot of the buds. If you have buds that are alive on the stem, like maybe that one right there, that could produce a flower. So the problem is if we have a late snap, once these start to come out, if we have a late freeze or a late frost and kills the bud, you don't get the flowers. So that's the frustration with the old mophead hydrangeas. Nowadays they have hydrangeas that bloom on old and new wood. So you're almost guaranteed blooms. I would go that route because they are definitely better. But again, all of this is just daylilies and mukdenia. Hopefully that's how you say that. Check out the flowers. So these little pips of flowers actually start coming up before the leaves come out. And it's such a cool little ground cover in the spring. And these are going to open up. These little clusters of flowers are going to open up. And I have those on both sides of my little downspout here. And a huge weed right behind it. So I have a flowering quince and a weigela, which I'm going to prune up a little bit. That's kind of getting wild up top. That was kind of a leggy, stretchy, not doing so good weigela. And I put it in this garden just to see. I needed something for that space, and it's sort of taking off. So I'm going to prune that, give it a haircut. Yes, I'm probably going to lose the blooms a little bit this year, but I'm really hoping to just rejuvenate that shrub. So sometimes that's what you have to do. You got to give it a haircut. So here we are, the before on the sun garden. Sedums are really popping up. Wow. All the allium are starting to wake up. The daylilies are definitely waking up. Starting to see some life. It's exciting. I love it. And it looks like a hot mess, right? There's like nothing going on. You know, not too much going on. This looks like a lot of work for me. In my head, I'm like, ooh, lots of work. But as soon as this gets composted, oh, it's gonna define the outline of that garden, and it's gonna make you feel like, okay, we're almost ready for the season to begin. so that's exciting. And this morning we have our first daffodils opening. All at once, actually. They're just starting. Woohoo! Lots of daylilies coming up from last year. Ranuncula's doing well. I've covered them twice, forgot once. Still happy. Lots of daylilies over in that far bed coming up. Lots of peonies happening in here. So much. And then this is the, of course, if you watch the video on the how not to prune your rose, this was what I ended up with shape-wise on my canes. So I have two that are horizontal for the bottom side of the bloom, and then one that's going straight up, which I'm hoping will produce something to cover this top section. So we'll see how that shapes up. And of course, you guys know this got redone in the fall, and then I added a rock border because my dogs just can't seem to figure out, you know, the border. And actually it has helped because it sort of has like a defining edge, but if they see something in the woods, they definitely jump over it, which is okay. So far, tulips are still standing, so that's a win. All right, it's the whole reason you have kids, right? To help you. Off she goes with a tray, and here I go with Chantilly mix. This is what we're doing. Let's see if I can make it to the garden with Emma. Nope, this one in the vegetable garden. Here we go. Got a lot going on. I just added some compost to this bed, and this is a 4x8 raised bed. So, yep, you can put it right there. So I think I'm gonna stuff this with Snapdragons. I mean, you know, I could grow vegetables, which I want to, but this is what is available right now for growing. So shall we dig them in?
Dig 'em!
Ah!
They got the woo!
Woohoo! Are we gonna fit all these, Emma?
Yeah. We're doing seeds.
Yeah, well, not seeds, we're doing fertilizer. So we're gonna add 1 capful per 4 square feet. This bed is 4x8, so that is 32 square feet. So we are gonna add 8 caps to this garden in the top 3 inches of the soil. All right, that's good and full, so we'll add it to the soil. You ready? Here we go. Ready? Well, here's 4. Okay, so 1 capful covers like those 4 square feet.
Mom.
All right, next one.
Next
one. So I'm gonna have her working on that while I get this mixed in. So here's what I'm thinking. Plant spacing is like 9 inches apart. So I'm thinking 9 inches on center from each solo cup. And this is sort of how it's working out. And I think that's okay. I'm gonna do another 2 rows, and then this should be full of Snapdragons. This might be really fun to do as a cutting garden this year. I may miss my vegetables, but I might do veggies in pots. You know, I have the patio too, where maybe I'll just focus on doing some food planters back there. But this might be so much more fun. I'm kind of getting excited. But anyway, I think this is what we're gonna do. Are you ready, Emma?
Yeah.
All right, so Miss Emma's getting some joy out of helping me today, and the boys are off doing their own thing. So this is fun. All right, back to it. There's my layout. 2 different varieties. I'm only gonna get 36 in here. I think there's 2, 4, 6, 8 per row. You know, 9 is a little close because they're expected to get a little bit wide and tall. So what do you think? Am I ready to go? Emma?
Yeah.
Do you approve? Emma approves. All right, time to get them in. And look, I still have a tray left over. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14 plants left over. But you know what? You always have to have extras, right? Somebody is going to get some freebies. All right, here we go. All right, so one thing I'm noticing when I'm pulling these out is that the bottom, because it has all of these white roots, can you see, Emma?
Yep.
Okay, all these white roots. If you're gentle, you should really sort of unravel these.
Yep.
Not really rough them up too much, but just see how I'm loosening these up? See how they're like dangling down now instead of wrapping around? So if you want to give them a little bit of a roughen up before they go in the soil, and then you're going to plant them right at the same level in the ground as they were in the cup.
Yeah, okay.
Got it?
Yep.
Taking notes, Emma?
Yep.
Got it. All right. Wow. They are ready. They're ready. They look amazing though. Oh my gosh. That might be my sign that I should have planted them like a week ago, but man, we just had like that snow and ice squall. So I don't know. This is not my favorite. Freezing rain, ice, snow, and we still have a couple hours to go. Ooh. I did not cover my ranunculus because it was supposed to be 34. And, well, they're still nice and green. It's a very wet snow and ice right now. This is kind of like, you know, and it's going to drop a couple degrees before going back up. So, boy, these things are going to really, they're going to really take a beating this year with weather and frost. And maybe at some point we'll actually get them to grow bigger. I don't blame them for not wanting to grow bigger. This is ice, which I'm taking off because if the temperature drops, I don't want the ice freezing the leaves even for a bit, because that's really where the damage comes. But you know, everything's still fine. It's not like the worst storm ever. Day 2 of my fabulous weekend. Here's what looks like a mess, but ultimately I have just weeded everything out of this garden that doesn't belong. And I'm starting now to put a layer of compost around things that need, you know, a little vitamins and nutrients. And basically we're going to give it a little dose of feel good for the season. So I did end up moving all of those little free plants, the little free salvias. I put it all back in that corner. So that's what that looks like now. They're kind of gathered in that corner now. And yeah, so we're just throwing a layer of compost on all of this stuff. As you can see, this has also been weeded. I have driveway stakes around my tulips because the dogs are trampling them. And yeah, so we're just kind of dumping around the plants. As you can see, these are heuchera, and we're kind of going in between and around, leaving a little bit of space, you know, around the ring or around the base of the plant, because you don't really want to mulch right up into it. It's never mulched perfectly. It always, something gets buried, but for the most part, this is what we're doing. This is how the season shapes up. This, you can see, got edged and stuff yesterday, and we have a layer of compost on these, this line of hostas. This garden got a new edge. You saw the before video, and this is kind of how it's shaping up for shape-wise. I have that edge coming this way, still a soft border, another layer of compost, not another layer, it's first layer of compost. So that's what that's looking like. And then once you put the compost down, you can really start to see like the shape of everything start to come. It gives it a nice clean look. This is compost, and all of this got weeded out. Got some tulips in here. So I didn't use compost right up to the edge because nothing is going to get planted there. I don't really want anything planted or growing in that trench between the grass and the garden. So I'm just trying to concentrate the compost around the plants. And then this, really fills in. So what I did was I took the shovel and I just threw it, and it kind of goes in these little sprays. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just take the shovel and I throw it. So it doesn't really give it a huge layer, and it kind of spreads it out nicely. So this also got plant tone because it's pretty full. There's not much I can do in that garden, but kind of just top dress everything and hope it all sinks in. So that got a nice edge. Then I went up to the hosta line along the retaining wall, and now we're slowly working our way up to where I started the video at the patio. So lots of work. And that was basically to weed and edge this and to get what we got done up till this point. It was me and Blake yesterday, and then this morning it's been about an hour, and my husband's been helping me with getting the compost to the gardens. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a big investment, but you know what? If we don't do this, nothing will thrive as awesome as it does, because we do have limited sun too. So if you feed your soil, your plants will feed the blooms and the beauty and the foliage, and all will shape up. So this is the sun garden. And I'm just now getting to weeding and edging. The allium is up like a foot. So that's exciting. But this is what I'm doing. I use this blue edger, and I'm making this nice definitive line. You can see where I sliced around the edge, sort of. Maybe you can see that. I'm not sure. But anyway, there you go. That's what I do to keep up the clean edges along this bed. So what I'm gonna do is, if you notice in the ground, there's weeds, lots of weeds here. So I'm gonna get in there, clean up, and then I'm gonna give this a layer of compost. So here's our before picture. The boys are working on cleaning out the stone wall. Look how good that looks. We have like tons of leaves stuck in our stone walls. Smile, Blake! So they're working on that. It looks so much better, right?
Yes, it does.
I love when you can see the walls.
Mom,
Yeah.
there's really cool flowers.
Daffodils. We have some daffodils open. Beautiful. Large cup daffodils. Wow. Amazing. I love it. This garden's gonna get a layer and some weeding, and doesn't really need to be edged, but I do clean up this rock layer in the front. I sort of edge about 3 or 4 inches in front of the rocks because I like the definition when you look at it. And the only way I get that is by taking a couple inches of grass out in front of the rocks. So this will get weeded. This isn't too bad though. It kind of got revamped in the fall, and you can see some little weed sprouts starting. See those guys? They're trying to get in there.
Mom, is this right?
So that's what we're doing right now. But everything, it's starting to wake up. This is like amazing. I love it. It's a lot of work, but man, is it worth it. Nice black gold compost. And once it's on there, it really cleans things up too. It doesn't look so crazy and kind of yucky. All right, so back to work. Okay, it's all edged. It's weeded, it's cut back. And when you're getting down on your hands and knees and cleaning things out, you can find out if things have died back on you, or you find surprises that you forgot you moved around. Had a few things die back on me, I think. One being that beautiful rainbow ascot euphorbia, which, you know, some tags in some nurseries say zone 6, some say zone 5. We're in 5B, so I'm starting to think that there's nothing coming up from the ground on that one, and the stalks are pretty crispy, so it might just need a little bit warmer winter weather. But anyway, so this is what my sun garden looks like when I've made the nice little trench in the edge. And I've also cleaned it out, and I've trimmed back some things. The butterfly bush got a little haircut. The lavender for sure got a haircut. If I leave this lavender really tall, then it sort of looks out of place because it's near the front of the border. If I cut it back, then it doesn't get really woody stems, and it just has a nice like 2-foot height, which is beautiful. And I think it works well there. I like the silver in the front of that border. But yeah, so lots of stuff waking up, and now I'm gonna put a layer of compost. As you can see the difference between the soil color and the compost color. And unfortunately a lot of this stuff is growing, but that's also good, so I won't throw compost right on top of the plant, because you don't want to do that. You kind of want to leave a ring around it. I can tell you some of this stuff is going to get buried just because of the sheer size of this thing. And you kind of get lazy, like throwing some compost around just to get it finished. I'm pretty tired. Oh, look at the difference. This is Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. Look at the stems. They're red. That's the only one of the 3 that has red stems. The other 2, completely dark. So maybe one made it. I'd be happy with that. I mean, why are they red? That's exciting. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, there we have it. This garden is weeded, edged, composted, and ready for mulch as soon as the time is right. And the time is right whenever I can find more ambition. I am done for the weekend. Tackled a ton, but this is what it takes. And as you can see, man, this garden is stuffed. And there's stuff that you can't even see. I mean, you can see big gaps in the green, but I assure you, things are just starting to come in and play nice. This area is a little empty. I did take something out of here so that it didn't crowd the 9 bark and the tree peony. So I'm going to put something smaller in there. And the other section that I have right here, that is also, I had some red hot pokers that didn't bloom last year, and this year they just rotted. They came right out as I was pulling the foliage off. So I've tried them a few times and they have not done well. I bought them at the beginning of a season once, and they bloomed and they were so pretty that I was hooked, but I just can't get them to overwinter. So I have to either accept that they're an annual here and just get them at the beginning of the season, or just not plant them, which is another option. So there we have it. There's our spring composting, edging, and now she's ready for mulch. The shade garden is waking up. You can see all those little pops of lime in there. That's my favorite part. We come out of winter and then we see, like, before everything really fills in, you see all these little bright color pops. It's so cool. Anyway, so I'm tackling this today. I have a whole bunch of decorative metal pieces in here and little mini trellises because the dog is very heavy. And when she runs like a maniac, she runs through, and I have huge hostas coming up. And if she breaks the tips off, oh, I'm going to be devastated. So for example, this guy is coming up, and I'd like him to stay in one full piece. And then I have things like orange marmalade, and I have, ones that you can't even really see. And then I have some babies and some minis, massive dandelions. So what I'm trying to do is protect those pips. This one looks awesome this year. That has taken forever to get going, but now it's like sort of multiplying every year. Gray Ghost or Hosta, is it Gray Ghost? I think it's Gray Ghost. I see it starting to pop out here. So that's exciting. There's another fan here, or another little pip here, and so there's a couple fans of that in here. Let's see. The grass, the Hakone grass is waking up. That bronzy yellow gold in back of the other hosta is an ostrich astilbe that's waking up. So pretty in the spring. And then this beast, Hosta elegans, always a massive group of, always a massive hosta. I look forward to that one every year. It's going to be interesting. This one is sort of rivaling that one for size. So it's going to be interesting to see. Last year, the one on the right side actually got larger than the elegans on the left. So that was surprising because that's been like the monster. It's been the queen since I put this garden in. So tree peony, that one got reset and looks awesome still. So yeah, everything is starting to wake up. The peonies are coming in. Now because this garden is shady, there's a few things that you will probably notice. The stalks of the peonies, those are really thinner than they would be if they were in full sun. So what happens is you get like sort of smaller stalks, smaller flower buds, less flowers, but they still look good. And it's a really good filler plant. The deer don't eat them, so that works. Got some beautiful spring bloomers happening. Beautiful daffodils, some hyacinths. What else? My ruby spiders. Wow, look at that patch. That multiplied like crazy. And then behind that I have Simicifuga. It's kind of that chocolatey color that's blending in really well right now. You probably can't see. But I do have some tulips that are budded. And these come back every year reliably. I have 3 patches of tulips in this garden. That one, which actually got washed out a little bit. Doesn't look like it has much buds on it, or many buds. And then this little patch here, and then there's one to the left. But I think I split that actually. But anyway, so those reliably come back every year, and they are yellow. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I have to build up some of the soil around my heuchera. Just clean out these grasses. You can see it has a lot of leaf debris in there. The sedums look great. They really overwintered well. These are such a pretty color. I'm gonna try and pinch my sedums back this year. These got really floppy last year and they kind of leaned into the grasses and they laid down. So I'm going to do myself a favor and see if I can't make their habit a little short and bushy this year. So that's the plan there. It is pretty much edged, although I see this jagged spot right here that might need to be smoothed out. When you're up on it, like closer, it doesn't really look like it's out of place, but for some reason from the side view, see how it kind of just smooths around this side? Not sure, that might be a little too jagged right there for the overall look, but only from that angle. So, but now we have the nice edge, a nice 6-inch buffer around the edge. It's ready for composting. I actually may throw some plant tone down before I compost because my dog loves the smell of it and is like obsessed with digging once she knows I put it down. So it's not fun, but I can change that up. It doesn't really matter what comes first. So yeah, so here we go. 2022 has begun. What does everybody have? Well, at least one has a toy. Jax, don't eat stuff like that. Go play. Cleo, look alive. It's Saturday. My dog has tons of energy. She's such a big love, though.